Welcome to This Explainer. Look, today we are tearing down one of the most widely accepted and frankly incredibly dangerous myths about money. We're going to expose exactly why you might be doing all the right things, but still finding yourself completely broke at the end of the month. It basically comes down to one absolute reality. Doing the right things in the wrong order is a guaranteed recipe for financial struggle. My goal today is to give you a serious reality check, challenge your habits, and show you exactly how to escape the rat race by mastering the true order of wealth. Okay, let's dive right into this. How many of you out there are working incredibly hard right now? Maybe you're even working multiple jobs, hustling day and night, yet you still feel like you're barely keeping your head above water, right? We've all been sold this narrative that sheer brute force hard work is the ultimate secret to success. But let's get real for a second. While hard work absolutely builds character, and yeah, it makes you a better person, working hard just for the sake of working hard doesn't automatically lead to a massive bank account. It just leads to exhaustion. So, the absolutely crucial point here is this. Getting rich is not about how intensely you sweat. It is entirely about executing your financial decisions in the exact right sequence. Think of it like a giant puzzle. If you do last things first and first things last, you're going to stay broke, no matter how much you hustle. You simply cannot get rich in the wrong order. You can only get tired. To fix this, we have to completely rebuild how you actually perceive your money. Which brings us to Section 1, the Financial House Blueprint, shifting your paradigm. To really grasp this order of operations, we have to put your paradigm under a microscope. Look, if you double your income right now without changing your mindset, you're literally just going to be broke at a much higher level. Look at the stark contrast in intention here. If you ask someone with a broke mindset why they have a job, they'll usually say something like, well, I gotta pay the bills. The middle class mindset isn't much better, honestly. They think the whole purpose of money is to build good credit so they can borrow money to buy liabilities, things they can't afford to impress people they probably don't even like. But the wealthy? Their paradigm dictates that the primary, absolute number one purpose of a dollar is to fund their asset window. And what exactly is an income-producing asset? Basically, it's a financial vehicle, a product, a business, or an investment that continuously pumps cash back into your income window. The ultimate goal here, the absolute holy grail of this blueprint, is to aggressively build and acquire these assets until the income they produce pays for every single one of your bills, your debts, and your lifestyle expenses. But to get there, we absolutely have to stop making 3 massive mistakes. Let's look at mistake number 1, the performance trap. This is that desperate, all-consuming urge to look wealthy to the outside world way before you actually are. There's a saying, poverty is a psychology before it's a situation. Postpone the performance. When you attempt to impress people by basically playing the role of a rich person, you are permanently postponing true prosperity. This trap is literally designed to keep you on a hamster wheel forever. You have to postpone the performance. I mean, look at Sam Walton, the founder of Walmart. At one point, the richest man in the world drove a beat-up old pickup truck and wore bib overalls. He didn't care about looking rich, he cared about being rich. Let's look at the brutal math behind this trap. Say you're making a pretty solid, above-average income of $120,000 a year. It is absolute madness to go out and buy a closet full of Louis Vuitton shoes or finance a used Mercedes that costs more to maintain than it did to buy. Broke people buy things to feel rich. Rich people buy things to get rich. They don't need to look wealthy because they know their assets actually make them wealthy. Moving on to mistake number 2, the premature purchase trap. This happens when you buy your absolute dream items at the exact wrong time in your financial journey. Every single time you prematurely purchase a luxury, you are burning the vital cash flow that you desperately need to build your wealth machine. You're spending the mama money instead of waiting for it to reproduce so you can spend the baby money. And we see this everywhere, right? The dream car that basically becomes a cash flow nightmare. Expensive college degrees that trap brilliant young people into waiting tables for 20 years just to pay back the loans. Lavish weddings where a couple invests way more intention and money into a single party than they do into the actual marriage. Every major purchase you make before you are truly rich builds a massive brick wall between you and the financial freedom you're looking for. Let me share a really stark reality check from the source material. There was this highly successful entrepreneur pulling in over $100,000 a month. He thought he was incredibly rich. So he prematurely upgraded his lifestyle. We're talking a massive mortgage, $3,300 a month in car payments. It felt like nothing until the Great Recession hit. His income completely dried up, and those premature purchases turned into a noose around his neck. He had to fire sale a $1 million home and took a hit of $636,000, suffering deep economic pain for 7 long years. Let that be a huge warning to us all. Do not build a massive lifestyle without massive assets underneath it to hold the whole thing up. The main reason people fall into these traps is because building real assets requires some seriously painful delayed gratification. Look at this timeline. Imagine writing a book. For the first 6 months, you're just writing. $0 made. Months 7 to 9, you're actually paying editors and designers out of pocket. You're losing money. And in your head, you're constantly fighting that nagging fear of, man, what if this doesn't even work? It's so incredibly tempting to just quit, take whatever money you have and go buy something shiny right now to feel good. But if you have the discipline to push through to year 1 and beyond, the payoff is massive and it's lifelong. Let's look at the actual math of what happens when you don't quit. In our source material, the speaker wrote a book 20 years ago. Last year alone, that 2-decade-old asset generated $81,000. He wrote another book 5 years ago. Last year, that one generated $180,000. Guys, that is $261,000 in a single year from work completed years or even decades ago. That right there is the power of an income-producing asset. You do the work once, and you get paid forever. Which brings us to the final barrier. Mistake number 3, the boredom trap. Because you're exhausted from working so hard in the wrong order, your life starts to feel pretty painful. And to anesthetize that pain, you start going into debt to buy comfort and entertainment. Remember this, play before production is poverty's playground. When you reward yourself with a cruise or a massive party simply because you're bored or feeling burned out, and you put it on a credit card you can't actually pay off, you are literally locking yourself inside poverty's playground. You are paying interest on your own exhaustion. It's crazy. The contrast here is just staggering. Vacationing while broke means you are borrowing from a future financial state that you are actively destroying in the process. But when you follow the right order, when you produce before you play, your entire life flips. Imagine taking a month-long vacation to Hawaii, not by panicking and maxing out a credit card, but because your income-producing assets generated the cash to fully fund the whole shebang while you were sitting on the beach. If you need a vacation from your life, the problem isn't your life. The problem is your order of operations. Okay, let's move to the ultimate production plan, your reality check audit. I need you to be brutally honest with yourself right now as we do a high-intensity audit of your financial life. If you really want to escape this cycle, you have to answer these next 3 questions honestly and change your behavior today, not tomorrow, today. First, the priority question. I want you to look back over the last 24 months. What major purchases did you make? The car, the massive trip, the designer clothes, before you had an income-producing asset paying for it. Identify it, absolutely refuse to ever do it again, and stop the bleeding right now. Second, the performance question. Pull up your bank statements. Right now, what exact percentage of your money is actively being funneled into building your asset window versus the percentage flying out the window to wealth-reducing liabilities? Are you funding your ultimate financial freedom, or are you actively funding your own financial trap just to look good to strangers? And finally, the most critical question of all, the production question. What is the one specific thing you are going to do this week to generate $1? And I don't mean getting ready to get ready, not redesigning your logo for the 10th time, not researching for another 6 months. What are you doing this week to actually make a sale, launch a product, or create an asset? You must shift from being a consumer to a producer immediately. Which brings us to the ultimate mandate. Of all the things on your agenda, the dream house, the luxury cars, the extravagant vacations, the status, take all of it and put it on the absolute back burner. Stop performing. Stop rewarding your boredom. Master the fundamentals, focus exclusively on building your asset window, and simply just get rich first. Put in the discipline now, produce before you play, and set up a machine that will take care of you for the rest of your life. So the only question left is, are you ready to change your order?